I guess we can all agree that being able to show average ratings and review counts on our site is pretty cool, right? It's a feature that helps building trust and authority, especially when it's placed in your hero section. The problem is, standard page builder don't offer an easy and dynamic way to calculate it, so let me show you how to do that with Dynamic Shortcodes. Hi beautiful people, I'm Jimmy from the Webonaut. I hope you're doing good. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I will show you how to retrieve that average star rating and the total number of published reviews. I will also show you how to display it on our website. And of course, thank you to Dynamic for sponsoring this video. Let's not waste any time and roll the tape. Okay, before we dive into the tutorial, let's have a look at what Dynamic Shortcodes actually is. They created dynamic content for Elementor back then, and that's when I discovered them. But since this, they came out with different plugins, and one being Dynamic Shortcodes. I love that plugin because it allows you to create comprehensive shortcodes to access and manipulate data across the platforms. Basically, it acts as a unified API access layer for dynamic WordPress data, and this makes sure that the data consistency and retrieval capabilities are far beyond standard theme or page builder functions. So when it comes to shortcodes, they use a syntax enclosed in curly braces, and that allows complex and nested expression. Here on the screen, you can see one. First, we have the identifier, and that's the type. It specifies the data object to interact with. Example, post, user, ACF, date, loop, if, or query. And then we have the arguments. That's the data target. That's the key or the field name to retrieve. It retrieves, for example, the title of a post or a custom field value. Furthermore, we have the options, and those are the parameters or the key arguments, and this allows for precision control by passing parameters to the shortcode. Example includes specifying a custom ID to pull data from a different post or sending a template for a loop. The next part are the filters, that's the data manipulation, and it enables on-the-fly transformation of the retrieved value. You can apply multiple filters to, for example, shorten the text or to format a timestamp. Last, we have the fallback, and that's for error handling, and it defines the value to display if the primary shortcode fails to resolve or returns empty, and that prevents blank content areas, obviously. Where it's cool is that the plugin actually executes logic and iteration without PHP, like conditional logic, data looping, external REST APIs data, and it also provides dedicated shortcodes for major WordPress custom field and content plugins such as ACF, GenTangent, etc., etc. Another great feature that we're going to cover in that video are power shortcodes. They are a bit like your admin-only secret weapon, and with them you can turn complicated shortcodes into one reusable shortcode template. And you need them for two specific reasons. The first one being the security, because some powerful functionalities like complex data queries, they can only be executed safely within them. But the best part is reusability. You build that complex loop or conditional block once, save it, give it a name, and then you just have to drop that simple tag anywhere you want. That's the best way to be safe and efficient with your dynamic content. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go to the tutorial. All right, we're back into WordPress, and of course I need to show you the setup that I have. I created a custom post type called reviews, as you can see here, and I set it up some random reviews in there. And when you go to ACF, I went to post type, create a post type. I called it reviews, nothing specific. And then in the field groups, I went with a rating, and this rating field is a number field. And I also put some validation, which is a minimum value of 1 and a maximum value of 5. So people could rate us from between 1 star and 5 star. All right. Once you're done with this, you can just save and you're good to go. Okay. Obviously, like I said, I have all my reviews here, and that's what we're going to be trying to calculate. We're going to be trying to calculate the average of all those reviews. Okay. And also show the number of reviews that we have. And how does it look like on the front end? Well, it will look like this. All right. So rating, this is the calculation we're going to make, and this as well. All right, we're back in Dynamic Shortcodes, and it's time for us to create our 4 power shortcodes that we will need for this tutorial. Let's click on New Power Shortcode, and we're going to call this one Query Review. First, we're going to open the curly bracket, and we're going to call the query posts. And this is the command to run a standard WordPress query. Then we're going to put @post type equal. And here is where you're going to put your post type name. In my case, it is review. And see how I use the singular version of the name. All right. And this targets, of course, only our specific review CPT. Then we have the post per page. And here we're going to put a -1 because we're trying to retrieve all the posts matching this criteria. The default value is usually 5, but we really need every single review in order to have the right calculation later. And after this, we can just close our curly bracket. And we have our first shortcode. Notice here, you can use this power shortcode with that shortcode, basically. Let's go on to the next one. The next one is the review count. And this basically gives us the denominator for our average. It counts the result of the query we just made. So let's go with the code. So for this one, it's pretty simple. We're just going to copy our first shortcode, put it there. Then we're going to put a space here. Then we're going to put this sign and we're going to write count. So what does it mean basically? So in this shortcode, we're calling the actual data set defined in step 1. And count is basically just a filter. Instead of giving us the entire array of posts, it just gives us a single number, and that's the total count. And of course, we can call this shortcode wherever we need the code, and that makes sure that it's always accurate, basically. All right, let's go on into the next shortcode. So the third power shortcode is the heart of the rating calculation, and it combines variable management, looping, data retrieval, arithmetic, and final formatting into a single comprehensive power shortcode. So we're just going to create a new power shortcode. We're going to call it rating, and in the content, we're going to start with the variable initialization, and that's setting the numerator to 0. Okay, so we're going to open the curly bracket and we're going to put set, and here we're going to define a new variable that we're going to call total rating, and we're going to set that to 0. So one more time, the set total rating defines a new variable and we named it total rating. And the 0 assigns the starting value of 0 to this variable. And why it's needed? Well, you must start the sum at 0. And if you don't explicitly explain it to the system, it might treat the variable as null or empty. And that can lead, of course, to wrong calculation. All right. The second line is the calculation loop. So we're going to open first with the loop. And that's where we're going to call our first power shortcode we had here. And we're going to put it here. And what does this line do? Well, this section iterates through every post in your data set and continuously adds its rating value to the total rating variable. So just to be clear, the loop is to start the loop, obviously. And then we have the power shortcode we created first. And this calls the result of that power shortcode. And this tells the loop exactly which post to iterate over. Next, we're going to jump here. Let's put some space. We're going to open a square bracket. Okay, we're going to jump one more time, give it some space as well. And we're going to open the curly bracket and we're going to put set total rating and we're going to jump line. So this command updates the variable on every pass of the loop. Okay, so we're going to have open parentheses plus column, open again the parentheses, and we're going to put get the total rating. Okay. And we're going to open another one and I'll explain you after. ACF rating. Okay. And we need to close it twice. And we're going to close it here as well. And close our square bracket. Let's put some space here and there so we know what we're doing. Okay. Here as well. So what is this field doing? Well, this is the arithmetic that happened inside the loop. So the plus is the addition operator. Okay. The get total rating retrieves the current value of the running total. And the ACF rating retrieves the specific numeric value from advanced custom field named rating for the current post being processed in the loop. Okay. Where is that rating coming from? Well, if we go to ACF fields reviews, we go to edit. And you can see here, my rating field is named rating, okay? And this is why you have it, whoops, where are we? Here. And this is why we set it up here, okay? So the result, after the loop completes, the total rating variable holds the final sum of all ratings. That's the numerator, okay? And next, we're gonna have the final calculation and the formatting. And for this, we're gonna put open curly bracket slash column, open another curly bracket, and now we're going to put get total rating. And here we're going to use the power shortcode we previously did before. So we're going to go here, then paste it down there. Then we're going to put a space. We're going to put the pipe sign. And we're going to put number format to 1. And we're going to close the curly bracket. And that's what we have so far. So we have the slash, okay, that's the division operator, which executes the numerator divided by the denominator. Then we have the numerator, as we said earlier, which retrieves the final total sum calculated in the loop. Then we have the denominator, which is right here. And that calls the separate power shortcode that returns the total number of reviews. And last but not least, we have here the number format 1, and this is a filter applied to the result of the division. And if we want to go into more detail, the number format is actually a function wrapper for consistent number output, and the 1 specifies that the final output should be formatted to 1 decimal place. So for example, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, etc., etc. Okay, now we're gonna save the changes, and I see I have a syntax error in that shortcode, so let me just double check. Yeah, I'm missing one here. That's why it's probably... So we're gonna save and see. And the power shortcode were saved successfully. Great. So basically, if we wanted to stop here, we could, because we have the 3 function in power shortcode. I'm gonna show you how to set it up in Bricks in a second. But we have one command that is quite powerful, but on big site can create some little performance issues. So let's see what it is. We're talking about that post page -1 here. And what happens is that it is asking the database to run every post that we have in that specific post type. In my case here, I only have 10. But let's say if you have like 10,000 reviews, it's asking for trouble. So there is a simple fix for this, and we're going to use the cache shortcode to store the result of this heavy query, so it only runs once every 24 hours, let's say. All right, so let's go into the shortcodes at the bottom, create a new one, and we're going to call it cached query review. And we're going to simply do the following: open the curly bracket, and we're going to put cache column query review, and then we just have to call the same code that we have in the query review. So we're going to copy that here, and we just have to close the second parenthesis. And this way it makes sure that your query gets cached every 24 hours. So now let's save the changes, and we're going to jump into Bricks. All right, we're now into Bricks, and obviously this is going to be the easiest part of the full thing. I hope you managed to follow properly. But here we need to put then the rating. We need to put our average rating here and the number of customers that have been rating us. All right, so for this, we're going to go here and get our dynamic shortcode. And we first need our final calculation. So it's this one. And we're going to go back to Bricks, set it up here, copy. Okay. And next, we're going to need the number of customer reviews we have. And for this, we're going to go into the second shortcode we created. All right. And we're going to set it up right here. Let's go to front end and see if it worked. And as you can see, we have the rating here, 4.4 stars by 10 customers. So this is pretty neat. This is something you can try to implement, put it in your hero section, for example, or put it around the review section. But this is a really great way to use dynamic shortcode. And that's it for today. I hope this video helped you understand better what dynamic shortcode is all about. You can use it in so many different ways. This is just a short example. Their site, by the way, is only built on power shortcodes. So I would really encourage you to go visit their site. Check out the link in the description. It is not an affiliate link. And of course, thank you so much to Giovanni and Dynamically for sponsoring this video. And to you guys, until the next time, stay sexy, keep spreading love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!